The Harry Potter films are some of the most popular of the 21st century, with the series making nearly $8 billion in the box office since The Philosopher's Stone premiered in 2001. Even the three Fantastic Beasts films, despite receiving very mixed reviews, still managed to bring in nearly $2 billion altogether. As film nerds, Jonny, Jordan and I thought we'd dive in to rank each of the Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts movies. We're breaking down all 11 films to see which ones truly stand the test of time, and which maybe don't. Enjoy the video. Welcome to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter! First up, I think we got to go with the first Harry Potter. Harry Potter 1.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. What we're saying, I'd say the nostalgia vibes are really good. I think the cast is the first time. It's our first entrance into the world of Harry Potter. So I would put it around here.
I would put it.
The thing is,
oh, go on, John.
The thing is, it's the first film in the franchise, right? It's the film where you kind of learn about the magical world. You know, Harry's learning about it, and we're learning about it at the same time. I think it's actually life-changing.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Fair.
I would say, I think it would probably be the bottom of life-changing as we go down the list. But I think it is a very good film because, as I said, it's the first one,
It is quite true to the books as well. And it is good.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, I completely agree. I think it will probably go a bit lower, but I think it will stay in life-changing.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it will be the bottom of life-changing.
Should we just go in order?
I think so.
Yeah, let's do it.
Number 2. I'm excuse me. I'm not as big a fan of this one.
I agree.
I
actually prefer it. Sorry.
Really?
I prefer it in terms of the story, but in terms of the template, if you'd like, of what comes down the line, I think it has far less influence. So I would put it top of Zesty. But even though I prefer it as a film, just because it's not as iconic.
My problem with it is that the whole whispering in the walls is just so, it was so boring. It was dull. That bit, in my opinion, was dull in the films. I think it was much better done in the books compared to the films. I just think it just was quite monotonous.
It is a little bit
the
boring.
way that Don't get me wrong. I did like obviously the stuff in the forest and the spider. That was really that was like, oh my god, because I hate spiders.
Yeah.
But I just think the fact it just kept going on about hearing it in the walls and stuff. I was like, just get to the point already.
I would
put it in.
Yeah.
I would say top of just mid as well.
There's some high
in my
ones
opinion.
to come.
There really are. There really
All
are.
right. Okay.
If we feel like it deserves to be bottom of Zesty, we can possibly move it. But again, I feel like just mid. Like it's not. I don't think it's anything special.
Okay.
I completely agree. I would say it's one of the weakest.
Ooh, now on to a legend of the game.
Ooh.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
See, I hate the. I know this is more the book than the film, but I hate the time travel aspect of the Harry Potter franchise. It really bothers me. And so, although the directing is amazing, I actually think it's potentially the best directed of all of them because it sets such a good tone for the following films. But I hate that element of the story, so I'd put it in Zesty.
I will not
even
have
though
it
it's really
below,
good.
Below Harry Potter 1. Bro, the little ding 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 ding.
Yeah, it is very good. The thing is, this is the first film that really takes the darker tone that the Harry Potter films kind of take from that point on. I think it's the first film where the story matures a bit. I know, obviously, there are some very mature themes in the first two films, but this is the first film where it's someone's broken out of prison to kill you. Obviously, we know that's not what happens. And that he's not actually trying to kill him, but that is how the story goes. He is a murderer who's broken out of prison to kill this child.
Okay.
And it's played that way throughout the entire film until the twist.
Can I just ask then? If they didn't have the whole time travel aspect, would you guys put it a lot higher?
Do you know what I think? Obviously, we know that the story has its faults in the whole series, but I do think that it is explained It is. There are rules to it. It's not just willy nilly. The whole point is that
True.
they can't go back and talk to themselves. They can't really go back and change a lot. The whole point is that they change bits that they find out were the case all along. I know that's how time travel works, but like, it doesn't have a massive influence.
Yeah.
The problem is, what would they put there instead?
I think
Would that be better? Whatever they replace it with.
No,
and I just don't know.
I do get where you guys are coming from. I think when it's like set in motion, like, okay, I hate time travel in films or whatever when it's like they've gone back and changed stuff. But you're right, him getting the pebble thrown at the back of his head or the snail or whatever it is, that happening earlier does kind of make the time travel better, if that makes any sense.
I think
I would personally put it just above Harry Potter 1 if you guys are that adamant.
I would put it just above Harry Potter 1.
Yeah, I'm happy. I think that's
a good place to put it.
I think that the fact that the Sirius allegedly has broken out to kill Harry, and then you find out in the film that he is responsible, or Harry thinks he is, for his parents' deaths. I think it adds a whole lot, and it's not Harry being scared of Sirius anymore. It's Harry wanting to find him. The revenge, the hatred.
Yeah.
Is really powerful.
It was so good. And then finding out about Remus being a werewolf was just fantastic how it played out. And then you kind of think this whole time, of course, Snape is trying to protect Harry, but also feels you can tell there's animosity between them. But then he's trying to protect him this whole time. It's just really good. I that's why I think it does deserve to be as high as it is.
Harry Potter 4, the year where no one got a bloody hell. Harry Potter 4, the year when no one got a haircut. What do we think?
I actually love that film.
It was a really good film.
Yeah.
It's such a good film.
Okay.
I might be wrong. I don't remember the books quite so well anymore, but I feel like the maze stuff at the end though is better in the book than they do in the film.
A lot better.
Quite a margin.
It's quite There's more that happens.
That's my down, and some of the acting is really stale, but I like it more than the other two. But if we're going as films as a quality films, I would put it in between the two, at the top.
Also, this is the film that really showed us a main actor playing Cedric Diggory as well. That was so good. Like his performance was really good. Isn't it?
It was good. We've got some class acting at the end. That's my son.
That's my boy. Oh, so good.
I think people like diss Harry's acting. Like, he's back. Voldemort's back. I thought it's not too bad.
No, I thought
he's a child actor.
Yeah, it's good. It was fantastic. Also, I'm not being funny, but we had Mad Eye Moody in this film.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
We had Barty Crouch Jr.
Yeah.
We had the whole memory scene.
David Tennant
that was fantastic
insane.
to bring that in. Yeah.
You know what?
And Mr. Gleeson as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Put it.
I think that is top of life changing.
Yeah.
It is a very good film.
Brilliant.
I know people have their criticisms at the time, but when you go back and watch it, I think I enjoy watching that film more than any of the other ones that came before it.
Also, it's the first proper reveal of Voldemort. Like the cold he looks so cold. The way he's just sort of like appears and has his own body again and then duels Harry, and you see Harry's parents and the interaction with the Priori and Cantatum.
Yeah,
it's
fantastic.
Just wonderful.
Yes.
You can see though why people had criticisms of it when it came out compared to like the books.
Yeah.
Right, because there was a lot that they like changed or just got rid of from the books, and I think that's why there are the clear criticisms that it did have.
Yeah.
But it was just a fantastic film.
Wouldn't it be quite boring though if every single book they ever made, or every single film adaptation they made, it was beat for beat the same as the book though? I like the fact that there's different slightly.
The books
don't change it completely.
They are our way of they give us a story and we imagine how it looks. The films are a way of putting that look into reality and saying, look, this is how we filmmakers have imagined it. Here's how the story plays out. The more the films stay true to the source material, the better the films. Harry Potter 5.
I'd put it in zesty. I don't think it's as good as the others. It's so boring at points. Like, it's a really good film. The ending is insane. The ending is so good.
Agreed.
But I think it can be top of zesty.
There are some wonderful bits in it. It used to be my favourite, but I do think that you're right. I think there are some bits.
That's the one with Umbridge, right?
Yeah, it just feels monotonous.
Oh yeah, no. It's weird because when I used to watch that film when I was younger, that film was, in my opinion, at the time, the worst one. But looking back at it, it's got some of the best stuff in it. Like Umbridge is fantastic. She's an absolute bitch.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean Serious Death, amazing. And the fight with Dumbledore and Voldemort was fantastic. Of course, it's written better in the books again, which is quite a common theme with everything in the films. But it was a very good film. I would say zesty. I wouldn't put it in life changing. It does have fantastic bits in it, but there are things that hold it back as well.
It does have fantastic beasts in it. It does, yes.
It does.
The CGI is a bit dodgy in it as well, I think. With the giant, yeah.
Oh, I mean, Grotby.
Yeah.
Oh, Grotby. Yeah.
Good old Grop.
That's a bit, yeah.
Put her down, Grop. That was a terrible impression.
Yeah. I mean,
hello, Hermione.
You've been a nasty girl.
Hermione ringing her bell in the forest for Groppy. That happens in the film, bro.
She does ring.
She rings her bell on the bike, bro. What are you on about? The dark and gloomy number 6.
I would put that just below Goblet of Fire. I
disagree. I think that's godly.
Oh no, I'd put it below Prisoner of Azkaban personally.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
That's my favourite one.
Oh,
really?
So good.
I just think the colour grading. I think they. They dropped the ball. I think they dropped the ball a little bit with the colour grading. I'm not gonna lie. It's just all just looks grey. And I'm like, bro, where's the colour? Give it a bit of colour, bro.
But I think it's like it's just before things get really dark, isn't it? So it has to.
It's the film that makes things really dark.
Yeah, I think it has to be like that.
I disagree. I think it's such a crucial film for the story, and like Dumbledore's death and stuff, dude. Every time I watch that film, I fucking cry.
It is nuts. You need to get your emotions in check, but it is a good film.
You cry as well. Don't you dare lie. I know you.
Cry.
You blub every time.
I wanted him to kill Dumbledore. I was like, you silly old man, get him.
You're lying.
Do it.
But does it? I don't think it deserves to be godly though.
No, I'd put it below.
Really?
Goblet of Fire.
Well, fine. If that's where you want it.
Do you know what? For the colour grading.
My feelings are hurt.
For the colour grading, right below Goblet of Fire.
I mean, colour grading when that film came out was pretty bad.
It's just grey.
You can tell by the poster.
Yeah, it's just grey. It should be called the Harry Potter and the Grey.
That's it.
Part 1.
Okay, so this is actually my favourite of all the films. I actually really, really love number 1. I think it slows things down.
I can't see that in godly.
I put that top of godly, but I think it slows everything down. You've got Dobby's death at the end, which is just so
spoilers.
So spoilers. Which, is really emotional. Draco's arc. I just think it's amazing, and then they kind of show a side of Ron that we've never really seen before. Same with Hermione. All of I think that film shows the relationship between the three the best, and their connection.
Dobby is free.
Yeah,
I mean, Dobby's death was absolutely traumatizing, and I will say this is the first film that actually kind of takes Ron in closer direction to the books than any of the other films. He's not the comic relief anymore.
No. He's
actually intelligent. He's got emotional baggage in this film. And that's what I think it was fantastic, but it did slow down everything a bit too much.
Do you think
that's why I can't justify it being in godly.
Do you think it's above 4? Goblet of Gaia.
I wouldn't be mad with you guys putting it above 4.
Jonny?
But I think Goblet of Fire is a better film.
I'd be happy with it.
Don't get me wrong.
Second.
It's more mature.
I think
it is more mature.
It's my favorite, so I'd say godly. But then if not, I'd say
I just can't justify it being in godly.
No, I fair. There are bits that slow it down. Part 2.
Godly.
I'm happy with that being in Godly. It is a fantastic film.
My only gripe with it is that the scene in the books the battle scene in the books is so good. When Harry comes back alive, no one knows. Yeah. He doesn't jump out of Hagrid's arms, shoot Confringo at Nagini and run away. Although that is cool. He is left on the floor. Hagrid shouting, "Where's Harry?" Everyone's like, "What?" He slips under the invisibility cloak. No one knows why Voldemort and his Death Eaters aren't able to kill anyone.
Yeah.
Neville chops the head off Nagini straight away, pretty much. There's a massive fight. McGonagall, rest in peace, Flitwick and I think Slughorn, I might be wrong, are all dueling Voldemort. Then you've got like Hermione, Luna and Ginny all dueling Bellatrix. Molly then kills Bellatrix. It's just amazing in the book, and obviously it does happen. She turns to a little like statue and then gets dusted. But the final battle is so good in the books, and they just don't do it justice in the films.
Can I say, I understand where you're coming from, but I personally think I really like it in the films. I think it is a very good fight in the films. Yeah. I will say though, the final fight between Voldemort and Harry is better in the books, with it being in the Great Hall and everyone's watching. I think that's better. And the fact he dies as a mortal man. He's not he's not a creature. He's not a monster. He is a mortal man, and that's how he dies. And with his main fear being dying.
Yep.
And he dies as a mortal man. That is so much better in the books than it is the films. But in my opinion, I think the Battle of Hogwarts itself is fantastic in the films.
The Fantastic Beasts, the first one. The where to find them?
It's pretty good.
I'd say good. Top of
the first
Zesty.
One, for sure.
I would put it there. I'd put it there. Or Top of Zesty.
Yeah.
I think we've got a lot in Life Changing now. Okay. I would say Top of Zesty.
I mean, that's basically the same thing, to be fair.
It is, yeah.
I don't think that can necessarily justify where things go, because based on that, we should be putting stuff in made by AI and all the rest of it, right?
Well, we might.
I think the thing is, the first Harry Potter is better than the first Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Because I hated how some of the story elements felt really tacky in the first Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
But I still think it's the best of the three. So I'm going to say Top of Zesty. I would argue, Top of Zesty is the best place.
That's fine.
The problem is, and this is a nice prelude for us going into the Fantastic Beasts films. I think the reason why the Harry Potter films did well and the Fantastic Beasts films didn't is because each film in Harry Potter, despite obviously Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, they're a self-contained story.
Yeah.
Right? There is an overall narrative, but they also have their own self-contained story,
which is how the books were written, to be fair.
Exactly, and that is a better way of telling a story inherently, because you feel justified once you get to the end of it. You're like, okay, I've finished this plot line. I'm now ready for when they do the next plot line, whilst also like having a looming like presence go on. There is something more at stake. Whereas with the Fantastic Beasts films, it feels like a chapter in a book rather than a book itself.
Okay.
And and I think that's where those films fall short. But we'll get there. We'll get there down the line.
I think also the magic of those films disappears when they swapped everything to CGI, which I get, but like it just felt.
What do you mean? The CGI on that troll in the first film is immaculate, bro.
Yeah. Brilliant.
It took me like 2 watches to realise that his fingers were bent the wrong way. Like
that's super weird, by the way.
Yeah, that's like there were
there's no explanation in the film. No. As well. I had to Google it.
Well, I gathered it was that he was a mobster and it was to, I don't know, threaten him or something. But either way, I think that the core magic and essence of those films, it's just the title. It feels like it's just the title of Harry Potter, even though it's not even the title being put into another franchise. I feel like it has, besides the spells that they say, it's got no connection, I feel like, to any of the Harry Potter films, that whole franchise. You might disagree with me, but even Dumbledore feels completely different.
Feels a bit like a cash grab.
Yeah, it really does.
I actually disagree in that. I think Fantastic Beasts it was a good idea. I think the first one is okay because it does feel like a self-contained story. There is obviously the overarching narrative that's going on, but it does have its self-contained story about he's trying to take this creature back to America.
Yeah. I agree
think that was really good.
I agree with that.
And I think that's why we can put this film as high as it is. If it didn't have that and it was just part of the following films, different story.
Moving on.
Should we move on to the next one? Yeah.
The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, if it was the first sort of 2 minutes of the film, I think it would be up here.
Life-changing, yeah.
With the rest of the film, I feel like it's got to be down here.
Lower.
Keep it
Lower.
going. Keep it going.
Solid poo.
Keep it going.
Solid poo.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
solid poo.
bro. But there's a prison scene.
No. There are some
Christmas was
outstanding moments in it.
Yeah.
However, it goes back to the point that I just said, where it very clearly was filler for the overarching story that's going on right now.
Yeah.
There is no like contained story in this film. It feels like, okay, what's next? I feel like I should be watching the next episode right away. If this film, like, it feels like an episode in TV, right? And this is the thing that I've noticed with franchise films in kind of this day and age. They're not self-contained anymore, and that's what I think is hurting these kind of films now.
It's the same a little bit with Marvel. I feel like because there's so much, and I don't want to get into it too much, but I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about watching Loki, and they said, "Oh, it looked good, but I didn't really get it." I was like, "You'd have to watch 20 fucking films to get it. You don't, but again, like." There is no. You have to watch Avengers. You have to watch Thor. Like, to get all of it, you would have to watch a lot. So, I guess the whole point is they don't really make sense on their own.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this film needed a self-contained story to justify our attention with the fact that the next one will be out in 2 years' time.
Well,
or 3 years'
came
time,
out 4 years after.
Yeah.
Like the Crimes of Grindelwald came out 4 years before Secrets of Dumbledore, which is nuts. Like a 4 year.
I mean, there was the whole beef with Johnny Depp, which I think Warner Bros. can go to hell, because I think Johnny Depp was masterful as Grindelwald, and we can talk about that for the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it does just make sense to go in solid poo.
Okay.
It just is.
I would say either bottom of solid poo or wet slopper. It was terrible.
I don't think it's as bad as Wet Slopper, but it is.
I think it deserves to go like here.
Yeah. Like it was so bad. It started a bit promising, but then Crimes of Grindelwald started better.
They're a bit like, which suitcase is it in?
It's so goofy, and it, like, I think this is the thing. Like, this is my point: is it just really doesn't feel like Harry Potter, like any of those films. Like, granted, you have to change it and mix it all up. And Jordan, your point of it feeling like a chapter rather than a contained story is very true. It's not something I considered, but you've hit the nail on the head there. But it just. The fact that Dumbledore, what happened in this man's life for him to go from suits to robes and stuff like that? Like,
also, his accent just isn't consistent.
I like Jude Law, but it just felt weird. And Mads Mikkelsen was great. And if you're gonna get someone to replace Johnny Depp, you get Mads Mikkelsen. Like,
bro had no emotion.
See, this is the thing, right?
I thought he was.
I'm gonna say this. I think I've mentioned this to Erin before in personal conversations. Mads Mikkelsen should have been Grindelwald from the start. He's more suiting to the character. However, Johnny Depp is a fantastic actor. I think if they were to have Johnny Depp throughout the entire thing, perfect. But they should have had Mads Mikkelsen from the beginning. I think he's a better character. He's better suited to the character.
I actually preferred Johnny Depp's because...
No, don't get me wrong. Johnny Depp acts better in the role. But Mads Mikkelsen fits the role more. It just is the truth. He does fit the role
understand
more.
Where you're coming from.
When I read about Grindelwald in the books and his entire story, I see Mads Mikkelsen. That's why when there was the whole conversation about, we're not going to have him anymore, it was like, well, it's got to be Mads Mikkelsen. He's the person that everyone saw.
But...
I'm not being funny. That is who people saw.
I take it was the direction that made... For me, he was an emotionless robot, which, as you should know from the books, Grindelwald is not an emotionless robot. Grindelwald
That's very
is
true.
Very charismatic. He won people over. It wasn't fear that, like Voldemort, it was charisma. He rizzed
It was
everyone
the
up,
charisma that Johnny Depp had.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
And Mads, I don't know whether it was the directing or the acting or whatever, but I didn't see that from Mads' performance.
Okay, but here's my counterpoint. Johnny Depp started filming this film, remember? And then they changed it to Mads Mikkelsen halfway through production.
Yeah.
So they had to redo all those scenes again. He didn't really have enough time to become that character.
No, of course.
It was a rushed mess, unfortunately. That is just the case.
I'm not saying he's a bad actor, just from the film, from what I got out of it as a consumer, that he wasn't Grindelwald.
The end product is rushed. Yeah. But I feel like that's fault with the production and the whole situation that was going on at the time. I think if they were to redo this film, not that they ever would, because why? Like, that's just insane for them to do that. But if they were to ever redo this film, they would need a lot more time. You know, he'd have more time to become the character, and I feel like you wouldn't get as bad of a performance, as rushed as a performance as they did for that film.
And on that note, I think it's time to end. We have been far too long. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you have any differing opinions on how we've rated these films. See you next time.
Alright, give me one night, sound alright, 'cause I'm gonna go crazy. Alright, give me one time in the moonlight while we dance to the 80s.